here. Are we live? Are we live? Looks like we shall be live. Da-da-da-da. Let's see. All right, everything seems stable. CPU usage is a little bit high here, but seems like everything is working as intended. And I think we are live and good to go. So today we are going to be reacting to the Game Awards. The official nominees shall be revealed today. And yeah, that's the MO for the video. To live react to the official announcements. And I should be able to pull all of this stuff up on the fly here. Let's see. They should have like a waiting room. Cool. Boom. Boom. And there that goes. Cool, man. What is going on, Dante? Appreciate you for tuning in, homie. Yeah, gonna be doing some Game Award nominee reactions today. Appreciate everybody for stopping by. Chat starting to fill up a little bit here, so greatly appreciate all of you for tuning in. And I had a little pre-show game we could run through. See if the audio is working on this. Okay, so there's no audio just yet, but yeah, I think everything will be working just fine there. Spokes, yeah, hour away. It's about an hour away. A little bit more than that, I think. I think it's 11 a.m. my time. It's 9:34 a.m. my time right now. So, you know, about an hour and 30 away, something to that effect. But it's, I'm going to run this. Let's try to predict all of the nominees before we get into it. For each category. And I'll pull this up on the screen with y'all. It's the funny thing about doing this live is like all of the boring kind of, you know, setting up one screen to the next is typically stuff I just cut out. But I guess that's the thing about streams. I guess people kind of like the more slower pace downtime a little bit, and they're okay with just listening to a little bit of dead air. My brain is like immediately I start freaking. I'm like, no dead air, no dead air, no dead air. So I should be able to pull this up now. Cool. So let's predict every category. Not every category, of course, but let's predict some of the big categories, kind of kill the time before we jump into it. And let's see. Dante is saying Silk Song, Hades 2, Donkey Kong, Death Stranding 2, Expedition 33, and Split Fiction are his nominees. And then Eternal the Gamer says, my picks are Expedition 33 or Death Stranding 2, but Expedition 33 has an underdog story, but Kojima is, but it's Kojima. You know, it's going to be a good show this year. All I know is Expedition 33 better win original soundtrack of the year. It's actually been a really good year. I think Expedition 33 will win best soundtrack of the year, but it's been a pretty damn solid year for music in big video games and just games in general. It's been a solid year for some really good music on offer. But yeah, let's go through, and I guess, you know, we could start right there. We could start with best soundtrack, or I think it's just called best score / music. We'll do best score / music. And there are 5 nominees for everything except Game of the Year. Game of the Year gets 6, and I think actually Best Game Direction gets 6, but everything else gets 5. So absolutely, without a doubt, you're right about Expedition 33. That will be nominated and deserving of that nomination for sure. I don't think it's going to get nominated because it's not like it didn't get a lot of buzz this year, but South of Midnight has a crazy, crazy soundtrack. If you're YouTube Benji's song, I think it's called Benji's song from South of Midnight. And dude, it is, I mean, obviously the context for the game, maybe look up kind of who Benji is and get a little bit of backstory there. But Benji's song, South of Midnight, even if you don't know anything about it, the song, like the lyrics kind of piece everything together in that track. And that's one of the things is like every single song in South of Midnight is based on a character. And then there's like a singer who is representing the character for the song that they're singing about the character. And it's just, it is a masterclass of, you know, just one of the best soundtracks of the year for sure. It kind of gives it that Disney sort of vibe, like a big budget feel to it. But then at the same time, it's not as, like, it gets dark as shit at times as well. It's really impressive. Let's see. Donkey Kong Bonanza, they put a lot of importance and they really highlight the soundtrack a lot in Donkey Kong Bonanza. Like that's a key part of the actual overarching story. So I think that will be in there. I think Death Stranding 2, without a shadow of a doubt, will be in best score and music. And so I'm split on my 5th selection here. I'm split between Yote or Dispatch. I think one of those two will likely. Zachary said, did they announce everything? No, they haven't announced it. We're about what, an hour and 20 minutes away from the announcement, so plenty of time to kill. And let's see. Oh, Sword of the Sea. Dude, Sword of the Sea is a great guess here. Because, yeah, it's Austin Wintory, composer of Journey, and that is a really, really... Silk Song has an incredible soundtrack. Yeah. Damn. So the thing about Dispatch, and I think I might just be kind of biased when it comes to... And actually, I could pull... Yeah, you know what, dude? Fuck it. I am starting to really love some of this production shit. Because you can just pull things up and, like, you know, it I sound like such a boomer with my take on this. Is like, you can just pull things up. It's like, yeah, you've been able to do that since like 2007, you absolute moron. But you know, what was it, 3 months ago, for the first time ever, have had internet that is even mildly functional. So it's just like, I'm a kid at a candy store right now. I'm like, ooh, I can do this and I can do that. Fucking big old ape. What? Oh yeah, what would it be? I'm a bitch. Is that the name of the song from Dispatch? There's just so much character. Like the do they have a lyrics version of it? It's this whole thing at karaoke where, let's see. Pull it up for y'all. Okay, that one doesn't. I want to find the one with lyrics before we jump into it. Okay, here we go. This is Love to Exist. And let me actually pull up their full. Yeah, that way you can get a shot of their name. I don't want to steal their stuff without giving them a shout. Love to Exist is the name of this YouTube channel that I'm pulling this from. So great work on their end for putting this together, because this, man, I fucking love this. So here we go. Boom. And let me know if y'all can hear this.
Oh, sounds like hip hop, but it's not, because then the white guitar come in, the white blue guitar. It's like Run DMC, you know, they came through a wall, but this is a different song. I hate the world today. You're so good to me.
So the context for this is kind of important. For this song, they're at karaoke at a bar, and this is the dude that you're kind of beefing with early on in the game. And so he gets up there to start doing karaoke, and he just starts freestyling this like fucking, he just starts freestyle dissing you in the middle of karaoke. It's hilarious, dude.
No, but I can't change. I can't change. I try to tell you, but you look at me like maybe I'm an angel underneath. Innocent and sweet, like sweet and sour sauce. Yesterday I cried. This is the lady in the song of me. You must have been ready to see the softer side. So soft. I back up, sing for me. I can understand how you could be so confused. I don't envy you. I'm a little bit of everything, all rolled into one. I'm a bitch. My name's Robert. Such a bitch whose name is Robert. I'm a bitch. Yeah, I'm a bitch. I'm such a fucking bitch. I have no hopes. I have no dreams. And it's a little thing, and it doesn't even function anyway. Because every record is function. So take me as I am.
Dude, it's just, it's like 4 whole minutes of this dude freestyle clowning on you. And yeah, I don't know. There's so many little moments like that in the game where it just, in 5 minutes, more personality in this game than entire other video games. It's fucking hilarious, man. And I finished that last night, Dispatch. And yeah, it stuck the landing. I was a bit worried that it wasn't going to stick the landing, just because, I mean, you know, that's a hard thing to do, but it definitely did stick the landing. And that it kind of made adventure games cool again for a minute, which was nice to see, where like everybody was talking about a choose your own adventure game, and you haven't really seen that since, I mean, I love The Wolf Among Us, but I don't even think since The Walking Dead, really. So, yeah, I got to shout that out there. Let's see. So, yeah, I don't think it will be Dispatch. I think you might be right about Sword of the Sea. I'm going to go with Sword of the Sea there. The only thing, though, is I don't know. It didn't feel like many people played Sword of the Sea. I'm going to go Yote, actually. Just in terms of like broad appeal, I think I'm going to go Yote. It feels crazy not to have Dispatch on there, but I think I'm going to go Yote for best score in music. And okay, so Zach says best performance. So yeah, we can go ahead and do that one. And y'all can let me know what categories you want me to predict, and we'll run through it. And give me y'all's prediction in the comments as well, because I'm probably going to steal a lot of y'all's. Best performance, I think that certainly, without a shadow of a doubt, what is it? Alex Jordan, I think, from The Altars is the name of that game, where he plays like 70 different versions of himself. Absolutely deserving. It's once again the thing of, did it have enough broad mainstream appeal for Alex Jordan to be recognized? I hope so. It would be really unfortunate if he wasn't recognized there. I don't think this is the right choice, but I think it's probably the choice they're going to go with. It's Charlie Cox from Expedition 33, who was Daredevil, I believe, right? So, I mean, a mainstream Hollywood actor. I think that, for me personally, Jennifer English for Mael. I think if you're going to pick someone from that game, I think Mael for me would probably get the nod, but you could also go with, well, is it a spoiler? I mean, Ben Starr's in that game. I won't spoil anything beyond that, but Ben Starr. But I think that my pick for Expedition 33 would be Mael. Yeah, Troy Baker, certainly, for Indiana Jones, I think should be in there. But that's another thing as well, man. Where is it going to be a situation of, well, it came out last year, so nobody cares. It's such a bummer. It happens every single year. Games from December get completely snubbed. But, yeah. Let's see. Oh, Dante says there's been a leak for the Game of the Year nominees. Fuck it. I'm just gonna. I'll wait for the official one. I don't really want to. Damn that. Don't. If you do know any of the, let's get through this round of predictions without any spoilers for what was nominated officially. Let's see. Best performance. What else do we have that would be in there? Oh, of course, for Aaron Paul for Robert Robertson in Dispatch definitely will get some love. And I think that, what's the dude's name from, I don't know the dude's name, for Henry for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Let's pull up that dude's name. KCD2 Henry voice actor. Tom McKay. I think he should definitely get some love in this, but I could see this possibly going to Erika Ishii for Atsu as well. So I think that's going to be my 5 for best performance. Some really solid performances this year, and then of course Indiana Jones last year, but I unfortunately don't think that old Troy Baker will get the nod this year. Yeah, Hades 2 definitely has some solid performances. I don't think about that because I play that game with a podcast, so I don't really think about the performances all that much. But I do know that a lot of people really, love that story. It's never been like I don't care so much about the story in Hades 1 or 2. But no doubt, great performances. Let's see. By the way, I learned yesterday they actually added a best video game score category to the Grammys a couple years ago. Good, yeah. Getting mainstream recognition more and more by the day, but at the same time, it's like, I think the mainstream is coming to us more than, like, I don't really think that the game industry at this point is striving for that mainstream recognition as much as just kind of earning it through quality. You know, like I think that when you see Hollywood kind of frothing at the mouth for every single new game that comes out to adapt it into a live action show or movie, it's like, yeah, y'all can come to us for all. I remember nothing but, movie tie-in games in that PS2 era. Every single damn month it seemed like there was some new movie tie-in game. It's just like, Jesus, what could these creatives be doing if they really were able to unleash their talent and not be pigeonholed into these crazy, we got to make a game that's about this story and has these mechanics, and it's like just so limiting, and then they're doing it in the span of a year and just putting out slop movie tie-in games. So we're in the era of slop video game tie-ins, adapting the video games into bad movies and television shows, although they've been pretty solid by and large. Let's see. What is another category we should hit before? How about we do... Yeah, see, talking about GTA 6, how about we do most anticipated game? Because I actually do, for the most anticipated game category, I hope they don't include Grand Theft Auto 6. I mean, I'm pretty sure they will, so we'll go ahead and drop it in here. But, I mean, will that have been included in the last 2 years for, this category? That just doesn't seem fair. Replace that with, I don't know. Let's see. I mean, FromSoft has a game coming out next year, so Duskbloods, whatever it's called, I think that will easily be in there. Wolverine, without a doubt, will be nominated here. And Crimson Desert probably should be as well. Although I don't know, maybe that one was nominated last year as well. So I'd like for games that have had more than one nomination to not be included. But at the end of the day, I guess who really gives a fuck? Let's see. Oh, Resident Evil 9. That'll probably be the other one. Although 007 is next year as well. But I don't know. Resident Evil 9 is probably going to be a bigger deal than 007. Like, those Resident Evil games have been selling like absolute fucking hotcakes. RE4 is at 15 million units sold in the last... shit, dude. That came out in 2023, so 2 years, 15 million copies pushed. Those are crazy, crazy numbers. And yeah, GTA 6, Wolverine, 007, RE9 is what Dante is saying. Yeah, I could... 007 I could see getting in there, but what do you take out? You probably take out Crimson Desert and push 007 in. I feel like that makes sense. Let's see. How about best writing? Is best writing a category? I mean, I know they have best narrative, so yeah, we can hit best narrative. For sure. Best narrative, I think we're going... I think KCD2 should definitely be in there for best narrative. I think Expedition 33 should definitely be in there for best narrative. I think that beyond that, Dispatch... But I think there might have been a weird cutoff with Dispatch. It should be eligible, I think, but I don't think the entire game came out before the... I don't think the entire game came out before the cutoff date. So that would be... Yeah, that'd be tough to say best narrative whenever you don't have the full context for the story. But I mean... easily one of the only legit water cooler games of the year where people were constantly discussing the story. I feel like that has to be in there. Even if you're just talking about the first 3 episodes, that made more of an impact than most entire games this year. So I'm going to go Dispatch, although I could see that one getting a little bit hairy. Split Fiction for best narrative. I I think that story is overhated. There are moments in Split Fiction that are genuinely like touching and have meaningful beats that are being hit upon, but yeah, I Hazelight has a long way to go for their storytelling. Death Stranding, yep, Death Stranding 2 is certainly easily in there. Silent Hill F, that's another really good one. Um, hmm, what should that fifth one be? Probably Yote. Probably Yote is getting that fifth slot. That story was great and also disappointing. It was like very predictable at times, and but I think it justified the predictability in the end. Like there was a solid bait and switch towards the end that I was like, okay, cool. This is yeah, this is doing a little bit more than just your standard predictable revenge storyline. Silent Hill F though, that Silent Hill F definitely has had a it has had an impact for sure for the people who really wanted to sink the time into it and who really wanted to like go through and see all the different endings. It seemed like that had major league impact on the players who invested the time. Best art direction, Dante says he wants up next, so we shall do best art direction. That is the category, right? Best art direction, I think is what they call it. Anywho, Expedition 33 will be in best art direction, certainly. I think that Death Stranding 2 easily is in best art direction. Death Stranding 2 I think is one of the best looking games ever made. Yote, one of the best looking games ever made. What are the other two for best art direction? Hades 2? But I mean, it's a lot of Hades 1 in there. Keeper is a great shout out. Dude, Keeper is such a good shout out. So is Sword of the Sea. I think I'm going to go with you on Keeper. That is like art direction 101. I mean, I know this is boring, but it's like I do look at something like Dispatch and I'm like, man, that is are you fucking kidding me? That game is like one of the most beautiful jaw-dropping animated cartoons, and it's being brought to life in a video game. It's incredibly impressive from an art direction standpoint. So I think those are going to be my five, and then not my personal five, but the five I predict to see nominated up there. But I could see something taking Dispatch out. Let's see. Best adaptation. Y'all want to see next? Let's hit best adaptation. I'm probably going to butcher the spelling of a lot of shit. Not the world's most competent speller. Best adaptation, The Last of Us Season 2 for sure. Swaggy Larry Games says his best adaptation predictions are Sonic 3, Last of Us 2, Minecraft. Minecraft definitely in there. Without a doubt. I mean, pretty much top the box office charts for 2025 Minecraft. Devil May Cry is definitely going to be in there, I would think. And did you say, yeah, Twisted Metal Season 2? I think those are easily the four. Sonic 3. When did Sonic 3 come out? Sonic 3 release date. Yeah, okay. Good call. Sonic. Because Sonic came out December 20th. Sonic 3 came out December 20th, 2024. So yeah, that should probably be the other one selected here since it wasn't eligible last year. Yeah, I think that's actually probably spot on. Good call there. For let's see, for Swaggy Larry Games, I think that's actually the exact 5 that'll be selected for best adaptation. Oh, Zachary, good shout. The girl from Silent Hill F being nominated for best performance. Very well could see that. That could very well be the case for best performance. Best indie? Okay. Yeah, we'll do best independent game. Best indie should, of course, be Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Expedition 33, for sure, will be in there for best indie. Blueprints will be in there. Dispatch will probably be in there. Well, Dispatch is kind of, I mean, I don't really know a lot about the funding of Dispatch because I know Critical Role has a part in funding it, but I don't know to what extent they funded it. Like, I don't know, was it an entire, did they fund the entirety of it? Like, best indie is I think we should, for best indie, it should be a cutoff of like $10 million. Because yeah, Dante's saying no way Expedition 33 is in there, but by the letter of the law, Kepler Interactive, they had Sifu that was nominated for best indie game, and so are they considering Kepler not that size or scale of a publisher? And so, but then it's tough because you see Ubisoft have indie style games or EA have indie style games. It's like, well, those shouldn't be nominated. And so it really depends on how they look at best indie game. You know what I mean? Because we saw, what was it? Dave the Diver the other year get nominated, and that was Nacon funding it. And like, that's a multi-billion-dollar company. I believe it was Nacon. So yeah, I'm going to say Expedition 33 is in there. I don't necessarily, I kind of agree. I think it should be done by budget. And if you have a game that is over, I don't know, $10 million, $15 million, then it shouldn't be eligible. Because to me, if we're talking just independent, then it should be a game that is like not funded by anybody at all, other than the developer funding it like a solo dev or a small team funding the game themselves. And if that's the case, none of these games are in here, and then you're going to something like what would have been, I guess, Silk Song. Yeah, I mean, Silk Song. That should be obvious. Because, I mean, even something like Hades 2 is probably going to be in here. And it's like, dude, that is... calling that an indie game is tough at this point. But, hey, I don't make the rules. I think those are going to be the 5 nominees selected for Best Indie Game. Expedition 33, Blueprints, Dispatch, Silk Song, and Hades 2. Yeah, right. And Dante says, will Shinobi make the cut then? It's funky because Shinobi, funded by Sega. I don't think they view Sega as anything relating to indie. And even if these other games like Expedition 33 had a significantly larger budget than Shinobi, I would guarantee you that. And yeah, it's funky. I don't even necessarily like I don't like having best indie at all. Honestly, I wish that they would just kind of remove that entirely and maybe just do best debut game, period. It can be indie, it can be AA, AAA, whatever, but at least the qualifications would be clear at that point. Pixel, what's going on, homie? Let's see. What category do y'all want selected next? Let's see here. Yeah, we can hit up best RPG. Yeah, we'll do best action. There we go. Good call, Dante. Hit best action. I think that's where you start getting into territory with definitely Ninja Gaiden 4. But then you could probably do Ragebound as well in the mix there. You could do Shinobi in the mix there. I think you're probably putting Doom in there. Do you go something like... Well, Silk Song is that action adventure. This is another kind of combination of categories that I don't necessarily love. Yeah, probably Shinobi. It's another one that in terms of the mainstream appeal, Shinobi and Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, I kind of wonder about. I think that Battlefield 6 will probably get some love here. I mean, it's nothing but kind of nonstop running and gunning, action shooting. I think that... I wonder if Hades 2... I'm thinking about 3 different games. Hades 2, Absalom, or Borderlands 4 for the final selection. Hades 2, Absalom, or Borderlands 4. You know what? Let's actually build out Best Action Adventure like right alongside it. That way we can kind of feel it out and not have anything in action that should be an action adventure. Yote will be in action adventure. Shadows, probably a good selection there for action adventure. Hades, I mean, I think Hades is kind of mostly action. Damn. Yeah, I don't think... Silk Song, probably action adventure because it has puzzles. Like, you're solving puzzles and platforming, and like, I guess that's a qualification for action adventure when you're talking about like the movement and traversal and puzzle solving. And yeah, Death Stranding, Donkey Kong Bonanza is definitely in there for best action adventure. Death Stranding 2 is an interesting one where, Indiana Jones should absolutely be in there, but I think you're probably right, Dante, with Death Stranding 2 being the 5th selection. I think that it's almost more of an adventure game, but I mean, it does incorporate more action elements into the sequels. So I guess we'll go with... Man, there's a lot of snuff. Because what would you categorize Split Fiction as? Would that be action adventure? I don't think it fits the traditional, like, typical mold for that. But it's like, well, if it's not an action adventure game, what is it? I think that's very much an action adventure game. I mean, it's, of course, a platformer, but I think that platforming is a key component of action adventure, because if not, then it would just be best action. So I think these probably are the 5, but man, so many cuts in this category. Dying Like the Beast, but I guess could you go Dying Like the Beast for best action? You know, the Yakuza game, Pirate Yakuza. I guess you could do that for best action. That's tough, man. I think this is probably a stupid cut, but I think I'm going to cut Shadows, Assassin's Creed Shadows, and put Split Fiction in its place. But at the same time, Split Fiction will get its love for best multiplayer and a bunch of other categories, and maybe you could even do Split Fiction and best action. There's a lot of convoluted gray area in between these two. Best action, fifth selection. Let's go Hades 2. I think it'll probably be Hades 2 for the final spot on best action. Yeah, Silent Hill F is a very, very good call for best action adventure. Damn, there's going to be some serious snubs in best action adventure. Damn, yeah, maybe I go... Because when I'm thinking of judges voting for this, I don't think they're going to think of Split Fiction. Like, it doesn't... And because I don't even really think of Split Fiction. That wasn't... Even Split Fiction is one of my favorite games of the year, but whenever I think of action adventure, I don't typically think of Split Fiction in that category, even though it is definitely in that category. Should be, but maybe, yeah. I think I'm going to remove Split Fiction and go Silent Hill F for best action adventure. All right, let's see what time. We're at 10:13, so we got about 45 minutes until this thing airs. Let's do best RPG. I think this is an interesting one this year where, like, of course you're going to have Expedition 33, of course you're going to have KCD 2, of course you're going to have... I think that might be where the of course you're going to have's end. I don't know if there is another of course you're going to have in this list. Best RPG. I'm drawing a blank. I mean, The Outer Worlds 2, I think, should be in there. You probably don't go... You probably don't go Oblivion Remastered here, do you? That would really suck. What about in the JRPG space? What came out this year, JRPGs? Oh, the Trails remake. I think should definitely be in there. Monster Hunter. Yeah, Monster Hunter is a great call. But that, once again, is that best action adventure, best RPG? I guess it's probably best RPG. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably going Monster Hunter here. Oh, Pokemon. Dude, of course. Well, no, because it wasn't good, right? But that doesn't really matter necessarily. Yeah, it's just going to be about who played what, and it's a popularity contest at the end of the day. Certain judges, I think, definitely go in there and they're trying to nominate the best thing possible. But a lot of the time, it's just going to come down to who played what was played the most by the most number of people. And Pokemon is always going to be in that running for most played game of the year. Avowed, yeah. So Pokemon, Digimon was also this year, right? And then Monster Hunter. I think those are the three. I'm kind of leaning towards Digimon. No, it's probably Monster Hunter. Yeah, it's probably Monster Hunter. We'll go Monster Hunter for our final selection. Yeah, Mojave Knight says, awards are nice, but sales matter way more. Yeah, sales are the only thing that matters at the end of the day for a lot of these big companies. You got to give praise to the companies who are trying to just make good shit, which are few and far between. Like, it is a business. I think that the best combination is, you make something good, it's received by the masses because it is good, and you don't double down and nickel and dime and you don't overly monetize. And it's just like, okay, we released a good product for full price. People went in and bought the product because it's a good product. Beginning, middle, end of the story right there. But yeah, I mean, sales at the end of the day trump everything. Let's see. What's another category we should hit on before we got about 40 minutes left? How about we do... What haven't we done? We did best performance. We did best narrative. We did best art direction. We haven't did... Let's see. We haven't done best game direction. We could do that. Be a quick one to go through. This is... So there are 6 nominees for best game direction, if I'm not mistaken. So for sure, Death Stranding 2, Kojima, get some time on stage with that. I think that KCD2, Daniel Vara, won't win, but should definitely be nominated. Expedition 33, the old dude from Ubisoft, I forget his name. It'll probably be a toss-up between the director for Expedition 33 and Kojima for getting some time on stage with that award. I've done Game of the Year already, but I'll do Game of the Year again. I've did it in past videos, but I haven't done it live, so I'll give my quick shout outs for Game of the Year. I'll do that. Yeah, we can go ahead and do that right after best game direction. Yeah, Mojib Knight says fighting games are always a forgotten category. It definitely is, and I got to be honest, I am not qualified enough to even predict best fighting game. So let's see. Who else? What other lead dude? Some of the... I think the altars should probably be in the running here. Donkey Kong Bonanza. Yeah, Donkey Kong Bonanza will probably be in the running for best game direction. Silk Song is a great choice as well, Dante, because what's it, 2 dudes who work on that thing and are able to create fucking master... Oh, of course, Split Fiction. Any chance to get Joseph Ferris some screen time. And I think it's deserving. That is a very well-directed video game. I think you go Silk Song. And not even, of course the game, but the direction of the marketing rollout and the $20 price tag. And there's a lot of great business decision and great business acumen that got that game to the spotlight that easily could have been, destroyed with the wrong person heading up the game. So Silk Song. And then you probably do go... this is such a heart pick again. I think I'm going to go Dispatch for the 6th spot here because it revitalized an entire genre that was kind of fading out with the absence of Telltale. But then you leave off Donkey Kong Bonanza. It's something is going to get left off. Something big is going to get left off for all of these. So you know, that's just the way the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do Game of the Year real quick. I know y'all were wondering about that. Expedition 33, definitely. KCD2, definitely. Donkey Kong Bonanza, definitely. Hades 2, definitely. Silk Song, definitely. And this is the toss-up between either Death Stranding 2, Split Fiction. There's so many. I went with Split Fiction. But I could even see like Arc Raiders coming in and stealing the 6th spot just in terms of sheer popularity. Arc Raiders is up there. Battlefield 6 is up there. Yote is up there. It's going to be a bloodbath for Game of the Year this year. Those are the 6 I'm going to go with, but I think you could go in a number of different directions here. Jeffem says Game of the Year, Chronos: The New Dawn. That's certainly one of my favorite games of the year. I adore Chronos: The New Dawn. I think that game is, other than like the Evil Within 2 and the Resident Evil games, it's probably the best modern horror game. So fucking good. Silent Hill 2 remake in there as well, for sure. But yeah. So I guess those are kind of the big categories. Is there anything that we haven't covered? We did Game of the Year, Game Direction, Art Direction, Best Narrative, Best Performance, Music, Action Adventure, Indie, Adaptation, RPG, Most Anticipated. I mean, I think we covered the majority of it. And so yeah, now if y'all just want to kind of kick it and shoot the shit, we can do that. Or if there's any other categories you want me to kind of run through before we get this thing started, let me know. And if y'all have any questions or anything like that, feel free to hop in. I wanted to, content creator, brother, I would have no idea for content creator. Best debut indie game. This is tough for me. Debut. Yeah, we can try this. I don't really know who debuted and who did not. Like, I don't really know what games were first, because I don't think Blueprints was the first game from that studio. I don't think. Yeah, I honestly, let's pull up best games of, because the name is debut indie, right? Best debut indie game. Like, they don't just have best debut game. Because if it's best debut game, then you can kind of go through, like, you have Where Winds Meet. That is an example of, if you're, I don't know anything about that studio, but if that is their debut game, then it's like, certainly that should qualify here. Jeffem says, long-time watcher of the channel, first time commenting on anything. Thank you for so many awesome videos. Really enjoy your content and takes on the video game industry. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, I really like the live stream format. Unfortunately, with my job, it's kind of tough because I don't really have like a schedule for my job. I just get called into work. And so it's tough to really like have I'd like to do streaming a lot more. But I do want to do it more and just kind of pop in and have these live back and forth interactions with y'all and shoot the shit. I really do love the streaming aspect of it. But Ball Pit, I don't know if that's their first game because that's Devolver, right? But it's the studio that matters. So I guess, yeah, I mean, let's look it up. Ball Pit developer. Carrie Sun. And I guess I could pull all this up for y'all as well to see. See, yeah, they've made games before. Quite a few, actually. So, but it's like, once again, the qualification is interesting because if we say best debut console game, because I don't know, are these like mobile games here? What is Mr. Sun's Hatbox? Okay, that was on Switch, so that wouldn't qualify. What about Blueprints? I don't really know what else? What is it? Yeah. Dogobomb. So is this, I mean, this is definitely not the, okay, yeah, no. Um, hmm. So it's just showing like Raw Fury games. So just like defaults back to Raw Fury for, yeah, best debut. I honestly, I have no fucking idea. So I'll scrap this one because I mean, Expedition 33 is the only one that I know for certain that will be up there, but the others, I don't know who is debuting for the first time other than Expedition 33. Because even in the AAA space, it hasn't necessarily been a lot of the big games that came out this year weren't really debut titles. It was long running franchises and, big studios making new games. And yeah, it's kind of tough to nail down the 5 who debuted this year. Like, was To a T, did that debut this year? Did, yeah, like you said, Ball Pit, they're um of course, Silk Song, obviously not. Hades 2, obviously not. I don't know. For best debut indie. Dispatch, yeah, right. Duh, of course. Dispatch and Expedition 33. So there are our two predictions right there. Dispatch and Expedition 33 will be the 2 games nominated for best debut. Whatever else comes after that, only Lord knows. But let's go ahead and we'll hop back on to the old YouTubes and sit in the waiting room for Mr. Keeley to announce. And let's turn off the chat for the old YouTubes. But yeah, feel free, man. Y'all shoot any questions you have, if you want to, any questions you have, anything you want to shoot the shit about, hit me up and we shall discuss it. So it's saying that this is going to go live at 10:40, which I guess is probably just going to be a waiting room in 10 minutes. And then I think it actually kicks off at 11 a.m. my time. So 30 minutes from now. I'm excited though, man. I really am excited for this year's Game Awards, and I'm very, very excited, as everyone is, for the announcements, because I think it's going to be one of those interesting years where you see GTA 6 getting pushed to November. So do we see a lot of big publishers, big developers stepping up at the Game Awards and dropping their games, release date for the spot that GTA 6 just left vacant in May? So I think usually you don't have back-to-back like really strong years at the Game Awards for announcements, but I think we could this year, where last year we had The Witcher 4, we had Intergalactic, Okami, the new game from Gen Designs revealed. Like, we had a lot of big announcements revealed at last year's Game Awards, and I think we could have a back-to-back performance of just like all-time epic announcements solely due to GTA 6 getting delayed. Dante21 says, I really expect to see a Sony game there. Yeah, right, because they've been utilizing the Game Awards and Summer Game Fest and all that a lot more now that they're not doing their big showcase each year. He's saying either the rumored 2D God of War game or Corey's new game. I think Corey's new game might be next up. But, keep in mind, they did do Valhalla, God of War Valhalla, they did that at the Game Awards, the announcement where it was like, okay, it's available now, free to go and download. I don't think they'll do that again with another free to download experience through Ragnarok, but do they do something like a Shadow Drop, kind of like Hi-Fi Rush, where you go and download it for $20, a small 2D experience, takes you 3-4 hours to beat, something like that. You don't pay a lot of money for it, and it's just like an overall kind of pleasant surprise. It's available right now. Those are always nice to have. Oh, Lawrence with a fucking interesting. Okay. I did not even think about that. Lawrence Pick says, I guess this year's show also airing on Amazon Prime Live could point to a big announcement from their studios. And then Dante hits it immediately. Maybe the new Tomb Raider. Exactly what I was thinking. Amazon's funding the new Tomb Raider game. Is this finally the time, to where we see Tomb Raider revealed? And then, of course, Amazon could do a ton of cross promotion, but that studio did just have like significant layoffs as well. It's a brutal industry, though. Where is it a possibility that the game is kind of a few months out from release? I mean, probably not. They're going to market the fuck out of it. But I was going to say, is it a possibility where the game is ready to ship in April, Tomb Raider? And so they're cutting a lot of people as they're just kind of polishing up at this point. But that's unlikely. That's when you're going to try to throw as many bodies as possible at it to get it out the door. And then you'll cut jobs, cut people after. It's horrible that you got to talk about people's jobs that way, but it's just the reality in this industry, unfortunately. Yeah, Dante says it's time for a new Metro, like a new console Metro game. Yeah, I could see that from 4A being announced because they just launched the VR Metro game. Was that last year? So should be about time. They've been working on that core console Metro game for a hot minute. Yeah. Yeah, it's that time of year, man, where like even just planning for the content that I'm going to try to create this year, with the hidden gems of the year, I want to do my Game Awards predictions for after we know what is nominated. I'm definitely going to go in and I'll do that as like a standalone video. That way there can be some editing and there can be some gameplay and B-roll and trailers and all that stuff. But, doing the Game Awards predictions for what I think is going to win, but also what I think is going to be announced. I've been kind of fiddling with that a little bit, taking notes, and I've actually been doing a lot of trying to deep dive into new studios who are popping up and seeing like what could we possibly expect from 100 Star Games, the Sefton Hill and ex Rocksteady talent going in and starting their new AAA action adventure game. Lawrence says constant layoffs are the reason I jumped out of the industry. Was impossible to settle in one city. Yeah, man, it's such a bummer. I don't know if you can say what you worked on or whatnot, but yeah, it seems like every big studio, every studio in the AA and AAA space in general, it just seems impossible to find stability. And I mean, games media as well. Like I've thought about that so much, and I've applied for different jobs in games media, and it's like, so what is the trade-off? Is I go and I make $40,000 a year, and I know that I'm extremely disposable, making either slightly less money or just as much money as I'm making now, and you're gonna, you know what I mean? You're gonna get axed almost certainly in the next 2-3 years with the emergence of AI and yeah, it's just it's a very unstable industry just in general across the board. I really worry about games media a lot, and I mean in a lot of ways they kind of did it to themselves. I will be transparent about that, where a lot of games media I think started, but how do you not? You know, I was going to say a lot of games media started prioritizing algorithms over people. And I think whenever you like blatantly disrespect your audience like that, it is. But, you know, it's the same thing in the content creation space, where I can't believe how many people will make such rage bait, clickbait, dog shit content for their audience and just like not think about the human cost of that. And like it's people on the other side like who are looking at your subscription box and are looking at it going, damn, this is dog shit. Like I know I'm not making the world's greatest content, but at the same time I don't ever want someone to look at it and be like, damn, this is absolute dog shit, like total clickbait, rage bait. Yeah, I don't. But at the same time, like it works, right? So, oh, Devil May Cry 6. Yeah, CU says, I think the big thing I wish we could see is DMC 6, but who knows? Capcom is pretty busy. Yeah. You haven't predicted any reveals, says, well, yeah, Moj, I'm going to do a full video predicting reveals. If you want one prediction from me, the one that's springing to the top of mind is Half-Life 3, but I think a lot of that's probably Cope, unfortunately. But yeah, let's stay with Half-Life 3. I'm hopeful, man. I'm very hopeful. I have been through this cycle many times where we see Half-Life 3 it's right around the corner, and then many corners pass us by and no Half-Life 3 is anywhere to be found. But yeah, Bloodborne Copium, Mojave says. Let's see. Lawrence says he mainly just worked on ports, though did spend 3 years on the first version of Warhammer Online till they pulled the money and went with a more Warcraft tone. Yeah. It's brutal, man. It's a brutal industry. So I hate that for you, brother. I don't think that there's a more volatile. I mean, I guess every creative space is volatile inherently, but I don't think there's a more volatile career field in general in the entertainment industry than gaming. It's just it is a scary proposition. All right, so we should have some audio kicking in. Let me know how that audio is working with you guys. Too loud, not loud enough. Oh, we got a 20-minute wait. Okay. Oh yeah, it's 10:40. Perfect. So hit me with the audio. Which y'all are? Is it too loud? Not loud enough? Pixel says it's good. Okay, cool. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mute the audio for now, and I'm gonna mute the audio for now, and we'll just kind of sit here, shoot the shit for 20 minutes. Lawrence Pick says Bloodborne will be a day one release for PS6 in 2027. 2027. Yeah, I wonder about 2027. I was thinking about this because I, on Patreon and for the YouTube members, I put up a poll each week where they can go in and they can vote for the video they want me to make each week. And they voted for me to make a video about the PS5 and Series X, reviewing them 5 years later. And it's so fucking interesting that, like, the first thing when I was sitting down and kind of jotting out some notes for that video, the first thing that I started thinking about was the PS6, because it's looming like it's right around the corner, the next Xbox, the next PlayStation. And I was like, man, I don't feel at all, because so we would be at PS4 launched in 2013. PS5 launched in 2020. So 7 years. We're going into 6 years. By the time we were going 6 years into the PS4, it felt like I needed an upgrade on my PS4. For sure. But something I think about a lot with the PS6 and the next Xbox is like, are we going to be getting more powerful systems just to say we have more powerful systems? Like, I wonder, is Grand Theft Auto 6 going to be the litmus test of, do we need to upgrade? You know what I mean? Kind of how Cyberpunk was that litmus test where it comes out, which that was just a horrible amateur hour on CDPR's behalf. I'm still blown away by any big name studio releasing a game in that state. But it comes out and you're like, you see people playing it on Series X and PS5 and they're having a much better experience than people on PS4. It's like, good Lord, I hope that's not the case with, like, GTA 6 gets delayed to 2027 and we have that situation all over again. Dante says a new Xbox third-party event was just announced. Let's go look that up. What, like one of their, what would that be, like their partner event, their partner preview? Xbox partner showcase. Okay, here we got a Windows Central article. Can y'all see this on your screen? No, let me, boom. No. We'll do it like this. All right. Xbox Partner Showcase revealed. Every single game is Xbox Play Anywhere, set to go live on November 20th. So that seems to be like their number one priority now, is this Play Anywhere thing. Xbox is ramping up its winter showcase season with a new marketing beat slated for November 20th. A couple weeks ago, we exclusively reported that Microsoft has a November partner preview event with a heavy slant on Xbox Play Anywhere titles. In fact, every single game at this event will be Xbox Play Anywhere certified. Microsoft has been pushing Xbox Play Anywhere heavily over the past few years as it approaches unifying its development tools between Xbox and PC. Developers who certify their games for Xbox Play Anywhere provide cross-save and cross-buy. Microsoft revealed the event officially earlier today on the Xbox Wire blog, stating, "We're excited to reveal that the next Xbox Partner Preview, our broadcast that shines a light on upcoming games from our talented third-party partners, is coming this Thursday, November 20th. This show will include news on upcoming games from partners including IO Interactive." Okay, so we got James Bond that'll be there. Tencent will be there. THQ Nordic, plus some brand new reveals and Game Pass announcements. So, says Windows Central sources suggest this will focus on known titles for Xbox, although there could be some heavy-hitting surprises. Silent Hill 2, for example, was recently outed via the Microsoft Store. Backend is launching on November 21st, so it stands to reason that Silent Hill 2 will have some kind of big shadow drop at the event. Okay. What could be there? Tencent. What was the other one? THQ Nordic. THQ Nordic has that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game that they are... But isn't that SpongeBob game? When is that SpongeBob game coming out? SpongeBob new game 2025. SpongeBob SquarePants Titans of the Tide is a 3D platformer from Purple Lamp. It launches on November 18th. And so this show is on the 20th, so it probably won't be SpongeBob. What else has THQ Nordic got cooking? THQ Nordic games. Oh, that's right. They do have that Tides of Tomorrow game that's launching early. Damn, why is the... It's not loading. Here we go. Make sure y'all can see all that. Okay. So there it is. That's going to be the game. That's probably revealed. Tides of Tomorrow from THQ Nordic. It's the one where it's like the choose your own adventure style experience. And yeah, it says follow your friends or your favorite streamers on their own adventures, sail through uncertain waters, gathering resources to improve your chances of survival, explore diverse floating platforms set amongst unique landscapes, encounter iconic and unforgettable characters ready to help or hinder your progress. And I'll pull up the trailer for y'all. Oh, not YouTube Studio. Not that. Just straight up old school YouTube, my friend. And I guess I could do that through the other one, but we'll keep the... Yeah, this is the game that they'll probably show at that Xbox event. Let's see. Captain Corndog, what is going on, my friend? Thank you so much for supporting at that membership shout out tier. Greatly, greatly appreciate you. And, oh, we got quite a few chatters popping in here. I apologize, guys. I'm rambling about Tides of Tomorrow. CU says, I'm a pretty big hater of remakes getting GOTY nominations. You're getting nominated for a game that already came out, especially like RE4 Remake, which is quite in line with the original. I tend to agree. I wish remakes had their own category. I wish DLC had its own category. But then it gets interesting, right? Where sequels, how do you feel about sequels? But I guess the idea is a sequel at least has a brand new story, hopefully a new world, hopefully some new concept that makes it stand out from the original game. Yeah, Pixel, good shout. Apparently the girl who played Isabella in Mafia the Old Country leaked that Hangar 13 was cleared for the next Mafia game. When do you think the announcement will happen? I mean, it could be sooner rather than later. Like, I could see Summer Game Fest 2026, the announcement for this. I think they're going to try to turn these games out in about 2 years, 3 years per release. Smaller scale, 7 to 10 hours, extremely, extremely high production value, but shorter experiences for a smaller entry point asking price. Like, I think that's the move, right? Like, making a Miles Morales scoped game and being like, okay, well, here, y'all say you want these smaller linear experiences. Here's exactly what you're asking for, and we're going to charge you only $50 for it. Like, I think it's actually a really smart business model. And Take-Two even... Yeah, I think that they, in their earnings call, they said Mafia the Old Country far exceeded their expectations for sales numbers. So thankfully, this wasn't just an example of gamers saying they want something and then not supporting it when it's time to, when rubber really needs to meet the road and you got to put the dollars down. Like, they actually did. They went out and supported that thing, and we're going to get more of it. I fucking love that. And I'm very grateful that people did go out there and support it, because that's one of my favorite games of the year, one of my favorite franchises of all time. So pumped to see more. Ride 2 Victor says Claire Obscure Expedition 33 for Game of the Year, RPG, Music, and Voice. Yeah, it'll definitely get nominated for all of those, and it'll probably win most of those as well. let's see. My damn computer is starting to get loud on me. The CPU usage is going through the roof a little bit. Nah, it's not through the roof. It's at about 30%. I don't think that's too bad. Darksiders 4, good shout out, Kale Mutts. Darksiders 4, that could definitely be another one that is in the mix. Lawrence Pick says main Tencent focus is going to be the Horizon MMO. I don't think they got greenlit for the Horizon MMO. I think that because that's the thing that they're Sony's suing them over, where they created their own ripoff of Horizon, which is called, damn, I'm completely blanking on the name of that Tencent game that is pretty much just a carbon copy of Horizon. Yeah, Captain Corndog says sequels are fine. Remakes should have their own category. Yeah. Best remake and best DLC expansion should have categories. Yeah, absolutely. Those should have been categories years ago. So, Darkside, yeah, a lot of people are shouting out Darksiders 4. That could be. These partner previews don't always focus on games that are imminent. So, if Darksiders 4 is like a late 2026 or even 2027, I don't think that would necessarily exclude it from being revealed, getting some gameplay of it. So let's go ahead and we'll swap back over to so we got it running in 4K. 6 minutes until the show kicks off. And Septimus07, good evening. Good evening, my friend. Thank you all so much for joining. Light of Mortarum, that's right, is the Tencent game, the Horizon clone that I couldn't think of the name of. Birdie Love says, I can see Mafia Old Country and Expedition 33 as Game of the Year contenders. I wish Mafia would get love like that. I don't think Mafia is going to get love anywhere. It's one of my favorite games of the year without a shadow of a doubt, but it doesn't really seem to catch on with the masses, unfortunately. Which, I say that, but at the same time, it doesn't need to. As long as it's selling well, as long as the fan base who is there supporting that thing wants to see more Mafia and is buying the new games, it's like, who cares if tens of millions of people pick it up? As long as a couple million people pick it up and they can make their money back and make more Mafia games, then awards and all that really don't. It's the thing where I say that awards and all that don't really matter, but it does matter. You saw it with like Control, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth last year, Astrobot. You see, the games get nominated for Game of the Year, and then they have a pretty significant spike in sales. I'm not saying a significant spike to the tune of millions of copies additionally being sold, but it's hundreds of thousands of additional copies being sold easily for a lot of these games. So it does matter. I mean, you got to keep in mind, this is a show that I know Keeley kind of fudges the numbers as he should. You absolutely, you should fudge the numbers whenever you're trying to get, ad deals and shit like that. And he says like 100 million people watch it. And it's not necessarily incorrect. 100 million people do watch it, but it's like, say 20 million, 30 million people watching the stream directly. And then it's like, okay, maybe we'll have 500, 600, 1,000 people watch the stream with us. So then that gets calculated. Then Maximilian dude has 1 million people cumulatively watch the stream with him. Whenever you have the VOD that's on YouTube, the stream that's probably getting tens of thousands of concurrent viewers cycling through that. And so, yeah, when everything is all calculated, it is probably over 100 million viewers, but it's not unique viewers. But that, who gives a fuck? If you can tell the marketing and you can tell the sponsors that you're getting 100 million viewers for this show, Who cares how you come up with that number? Go and get your damn Sprite deal or your damn, what is it, League of Legends or whatever 10-cent Hoyoverse money that you can get. Jeffem says, absolute wish list game here, but I want a Parasite Eve remake announced at the Game Awards and release date for sometime December 2026 as a Christmas game. Oh my God. You are speaking my language, dude. Imagine a snowy New York City Parasite Eve. Kind of looks like Resident Evil with the over-the-shoulder third person, but then it kind of cuts into a hybrid. How do you do that? Would you go full turn-based or would you go full-time or full, like, real-time action? Yeah, I don't know. I think you could do kind of a hybrid approach, maybe something like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, where it's predominantly an action game, but you have those elements of turn-based tactical combat if you want to use it. Be so sick. CU says, I could see them just doing Dino RE if they did a new Dino Crisis. Yeah, and I think they should. I that's a video I've been wanting to make as well, where, like, I don't know what the title of it is, but something of, like, I want my favorite video game franchises to go away. I don't, that sounds clickbaity, but, like, when I think about Resident Evil, it's like, dude, I would be so down for Resident Evil to go away for 5 years and for us to get 3 Dino Crisis or 2 Dino Crisis games in that time. You know, like, I love Resident Evil. I could play a new one every year. It's my favorite video game franchise of all time. But at the same time, let's let Dino Crisis pop up. A new Mega Man, yeah. Lawrence Pick says, I love Swin Ving's speech last year, taking a swing at publishers, treating their developers like numbers on a spreadsheet. Yeah, for sure, dude. For sure. Yeah. The chat's filling up today, man. I'm pumped. It's kind of hard to even keep up. We got, what, close to 40 live concurrent viewers? That's crazy. Thank y'all all so much for stopping by, man. I don't think I've ever had anything close to this pop up for the live stream, so I greatly appreciate it, man. It's kind of wild. Like, I didn't even know if anybody would be interested in watching the nominees revealed. Like, that's something so specific to my brain where I'm like, yeah, I think that this is, we need to make an event out of watching a 5, because after this thing ends, we're talking, what, 4 or 5 minutes of Keely going through this? It's a very small ordeal, but I love this style of shit. I'm such a nerd for it, so I'm glad to see others are into this as well. I wasn't sure this idea would click at all. I wish someone would make a Constantine game. Yeah, Constantine, PS2, Xbox. I played that back in the day. Dark Watch as well. Capcom, just thinking of Capcom, I would love to see them return to Dark Watch. Imagine like a vampire western, which I guess you kind of have something like that with Evil West. But Jordan C says, enjoy your videos a lot, man. Thank you so much, Jordan. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for tuning in to the live stream. Dante says, got to do a live Game Awards reaction. Absolutely. I think I'm going to have Loon, or I'm going to ask Loon to join in for that one. Yeah. Here we go. Let me make sure I got that audio for y'all. Boom.
Hello, everybody. It's Jeff Keighley, and the Game Awards season is officially here, leading up to our live show streaming everywhere on Thursday, December 11th. Welcome to our 2025 Global Nomination Announcement Special. Every year, we come together as a community to celebrate and, of course, debate the absolute best in video
Gotta
games.
debate them.
And, of course, also get a look at what's next from our industry's most talented creators. This year, there have been so many incredible games created and updated, but only a handful have the honor of being selected as nominees for the Game Awards by our global voting jury.
Show us the
Who's
shoes.
in the running? Well, you're about to find out as we reveal this year's nominees across all the categories, and you can help select the winners by voting at thegameawards.com. All right, should we do it? Here's the first category.
Let's see it.
Best performance, the nominees are Ben Starr for Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
Okay, Ben Starr and
Charlie Cox
both
for
of them.
Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Erika Ishii for Ghost of Yote.
So I'm already wrong.
Jennifer English for Claire Obscure
Oh
Expedition
my
33.
God.
Konatsu Kato for Silent Hill F. And Troy Baker for
There
Indiana
we go.
Jones and the Great Circle.
Let's not forget that. Let's
For
not
best
forget that.
ongoing game, the nominees are
Expedition
Final
33
Fantasy
cleaning
14,
up, dude.
Fortnite, Helldivers 2, Marvel Rivals, and No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky
For best
always in
mobile
there.
Game, the nominees are Destiny Rising, Persona 5 The Phantom X, Sonic Rumble, Uma Masume Pretty Derby, and Wuthering Waves. This year's nominees for Best Art Direction are Claire Obscure Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2
Yeah,
On the Beach,
both deserving.
Ghost of Yote, Hades 2,
Hades
and
2.
Hollow Knight Silk Song.
Okay.
For Best Score in
I'm
Music,
way off
leveled
on my
up by
predictions.
Spotify. The nominees are Christopher Larkin for Hollow Knight Silk Song,
Mm-hmm.
Darren Korb for Hades 2, Lorian Testar for Claire Obscure Expedition 33, Toma Otoa for Ghost of Yote, and Woodkid and Ludwig Forsell for Death Stranding 2
Okay.
On the Beach.
Yeah, I mean, that's
The Best Audio Design
That's fair.
nominees are Battlefield 6, Claire Obscure Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2 On the Beach, Ghost of Yote, and Silent Hill F.
Silent Hill F
Best
does have great
adaptation
audio
was added
design.
to the Game Awards in 2022 to recognize an outstanding show, movie, or other creative work inspired by and based on an established video game world. Here are this year's nominees for Best Adaptation.
A Minecraft Movie, Devil May Cry, Splinter Cell Deathwatch, The Last of Us Season 2, and Until Dawn. For Best Narrative,
Yeah.
the outstanding nominees are Claire Obscure Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2 On the Beach, Ghost of Yote, Kingdom Come Deliverance
There you go.
2,
KCD
and
2.
Silent Hill F.
Oh, Silent Hill F did
Best
get in.
community
Y'all predicted
support
that.
celebrates game developers who continually and transparently engage, support, and respond to their players. This year's nominees are
Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, and No Man's Sky. Your nominees for Games for Impact are Consume Me, Despelote, Lost Records Bloom and Rage.
Yeah,
South
Twisted
of
Metal
Midnight,
not getting in there
and
is shocking.
Wonderstop. In the category of Best
Also, South of
Multiplayer,
Midnight not
nominees
getting in
are
for Best Soundtrack
Raiders,
is shocking.
Battlefield 6, Elden Ring Night Rain, Peak, and Split Fiction.
Best Independent Game celebrates games with a high degree of risk tolerance, produced outside the traditional publisher system. Those nominees are
Absolem, Ball Pit, Blueprints, Claire Obscure Expedition 33, Hades 2, and Hollow Knight Silk Song.
Wow.
Best Debut
So,
Indie Game recognizes a development
okay,
team that
Dispatch
hasn't won a Game Award
probably
before.
isn't going to get in
In fact, these
anywhere
teams published their
because it
first game
wasn't
this
fully
year. The
released.
nominees are
Blueprints, Claire Obscure Expedition 33, Despelote, Dispatch.
Okay, well,
and Megaball.
there's Dispatch.
For Best VR AR Game, the nominees are Alien Rogue Incursion, Arcan Age, Ghost Town, Marvel's Deadpool VR, and The Midnight Walk. For Content Creator of the Year, the nominees are Pedro, Kai Sanat, Moist Critical, Sakura Miko, and The Burnt Peanut.
Moist
Part of the
Critical is
Game
actually
Awards
really
is
good in
looking forward
Dispatch.
to what's
Shockingly
next.
good.
And don't worry, we'll have lots of games to announce for you on December 11th. But what's the most anticipated upcoming game? Here are the nominees based on currently announced titles.
007 First
Okay,
Light,
yep, y'all
Grand
predicted that
Theft
one as
Auto
well.
6, Marvel's Wolverine, Resident Evil Requiem, and The Witcher 4.
The Witcher
Best
4.
action-adventure game nominees are
Wait,
Death Stranding 2 On the Beach, Ghost of Yote, Hollow Knight Silk Song, Indiana Jones and the
there we
Great
go,
Circle,
Indiana
and
Jones. Get in
Split
there.
Fiction.
Split Fiction, damn, I
Best
should have went with my
role-playing
gut.
Game, the jury selected Avowed, Claire
Avowed.
Obscure Expedition 33, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Monster Hunter Wilds, and The Outer Worlds 2. In the category of
What
Best
did
Fighting
I
Game,
have on
the
that?
nominees are 2XKO, Capcom Fighting Collection 2, Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, and Virtua Fighter 5 Revo World Stage. The nominees for Best Action Game are Battlefield 6, Doom the Dark Ages, Hades 2, Ninja Gaiden 4, and Shinobi. Art of
Shinobi.
Vengeance.
Yep.
Innovation and accessibility celebrates games that are making our industry available and enjoyable to more people. The nominees for innovation and accessibility are
Assassin's Creed Shadows, Atomfall, Doom the Dark Ages.
I'm surprised
EA
no
Sports
Trails
FC
remake, no
26,
Digimon, no
and
Pokemon
South of Midnight.
in for best RPG.
Next up, Best Family Game. The nominees are Donkey Kong Bonanza, Lego Party, Lego Voyagers, Mario Kart World, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, and Split Fiction.
Split
The Best
Fiction.
Sim strategy game
Best
nominees
family
are
game is just good
The
multiplayer
Ultimate,
games.
Final Fantasy Tactics, Ivalice Chronicles, Jurassic World Evolution 3, Sid Meier's Civilization 7, Tempest Rising, and 2 Point Museum. These games are nominated for Best Sports Racing Game. EA Sports FC 26, F1 25, Mario Kart World, Rematch, and
Hey,
Sonic
Rematch.
Racing
There you
Cross
go.
Worlds.
Now the
Feels like
nominees
people
in
are
our
forgetting
three
about Rematch,
esports
man.
categories, starting with
Best Esports Game. The nominees are Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2, League of Legends, Mobile
I don't want to be
Legends,
disrespectful
Bang
and talk over
and
it, but
Valorant. The nominees for
Obsidian
Best
has
Esports
2
Athlete
RPGs
are
nominated. I wonder if that's
Rock,
ever been done before.
Shovi, Forsaken, Kakarot,
Where a studio
Meta
has
RD,
2 games.
and Zywoo. And for Best Esports Team, our Special Esports Committee nominated these teams. Gen G League of Legends,
Especially for a
NRG,
big
Valorant,
category like
Team
RPG.
Falcons, Dota 2, Team Liquid PH, Mobile Legends Bang Bang, and Team Vitality, Counter-Strike 2.
Okay, we're almost done, but there are still 2 very important categories to go. First, Best Game Direction recognizes outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. The nominees are
Claire Obscure Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2 On the Beach, Ghost of Yote, Hades 2, and Split Fiction.
Yeah.
And now it's the big one. GOTY, Game of the Year, recognizing a game that delivers the absolute
Here we go.
best experience to players across all creative and technical
Let's see
fields.
who's going to be
This year's
outraged.
awards,
Which
our
fandom?
global TGA jury has selected the following 6 games as the nominees for Game of the Year.
Claire Obscure Expedition 33 from Sandfall Interactive.
Well,
Death Stranding 2 On the Beach from Kojima Productions.
Death Stranding got in there.
Donkey Kong Bonanza from Nintendo. Hades 2 from Super
Kingdom
Giant
Come Deliverance 2
Games.
is going to get snubbed.
Hollow Knight Silk Song from Team Cherry. And Kingdom Come
Oh!
Deliverance 2 from Warhorse
Shout the
Studios.
fuck out.
There you
Nice,
have it, your
man.
nominees for Game of the Year. And now that those are official, you can
Nice.
Lauren Bell from the Game Awards Orchestra playing their themes as part of our musical salute to the nominees live on December 11th. But before that, we need your help to decide which nominees become the winners. Make sure to head to thegameawards.com to cast your ballot. And new this year, download
I'm
your
shocked,
vote
man.
card so you can share your picks on social media. There is still one more category where the nominees have yet to be revealed. Player's Voice, where fans 100% select the winner from 30 nominees. We'll announce those nominees on Monday, December 1st, so set a reminder on the website if you want to be alerted. The winners in all categories will be revealed live during TGA when it streams globally on Thursday, December 11th, starting with opening act at 4:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 a.m. GMT at thegameawards.com and live across every major video and social platform out there. Thanks for watching. And we'll see
Interesting.
you live on Thursday, December 11th to celebrate the best.
All right,
See what's
guys.
next in video games.
That is fucking fascinating. I want to kind of go back through this real quick. We'll turn the audio off. And just kind of look back through this. I gotta say, I'm very, very pleasantly surprised with Game of the Year. I did not think that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was going to get in there. So what got snubbed here for Game of the Year? Was it Split Fiction that didn't get in here? Yeah, it would have been Split Fiction, right? Because they do this in alphabetical order, and KCD2 was the last thing. Shout it out. Okay. So yeah, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, final game that was nominated for Game of the Year. Shout out, man. I was incredibly wrong with my predictions. Let's go and look that back over. I was so damn wrong. Actually, I got to shout out you guys in the chat. Y'all were getting a lot of shit spot on with your predictions. So my game of the year predictions, I had Expedition 33 that got in, KCD 2 that got in, Donkey Kong that got in, Hades 2 that got in, Silksong that got in, and Split Fiction got kicked, and Death Stranding was put in its place. It's I don't think that anything is rigged or anything like that, but the allegations are never going to go away. You know, with Death Stranding 2 is going to be all over that damn stage. But you know, people had a very emotional response and a connection to that game, and it's like that's going to be one of the key factors that brings people to vote for something as their game of the year, is if they really connected to the story. I mean, look at all of these games in here, except like really maybe Donkey Kong and Silksong. All the other games are people really resonated with the story a lot, and a lot of people even resonated with Donkey Kong's story. So, yeah. See, you said, I'm surprised you didn't put Death Stranding 2 in there. Yeah, it was the one, if you watch I don't remember what I titled the video, but predicting the snubs, Death Stranding 2 and Split Fiction were the two that I was tossing. I couldn't really decide. It was a toss-up between those two. And yeah, Dante says it's a shame that Sword of the Sea didn't get anything at all. That is crazy. Also, South of Midnight, no shout out for the soundtrack. I think that game is okay, but the soundtrack is like god tier. I think that's one of the and no, The Altars is probably the biggest snub overall, in my opinion. Like nothing at all for The Altars. That dude doesn't get any love for his performance. Alex Jordan, no love for that performance in The Altars. That is crazy. He voiced like 70 different dynamic characters. Once again, it's a popularity contest, so it's hard to be outraged at people voting for the things that they played. There's only so much time, and you would like to see a world where these outlets play the majority of the games that are like the big releases, but it's impossible. And The Altars was in strategy games. Yeah, that fair enough. Let's see. Garrett Chris says, damn man, I knew something had to get snubbed, but I am a little salty that Split Fiction and Yote got snubbed in favor of KCD 2 and Death Stranding 2. I think that I can understand. Listen, I love Split Fiction. I love Yote. Easily two of my favorite games of the year. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is I would say Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is more impressive to me, more ambitious than either of those other games. And Death Stranding 2 included in that. I think Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is the most ambitious of the bunch. And so for that reason, I wanted to see it included because I am so impressed with that game. There's a lot about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 that I just like. The combat I think is mediocre, but I think that the overall direction and ambition of that game should have been awarded, and I'm glad that it was. That game is really fucking impressive on just a pure scale. The dynamism in that game is unparalleled from anything else that released this year. Like, these NPCs have full lives that they're living, and you can go and make one little decision that just completely shifts the course of your game experience. Like, I remember there was an encounter where I was supposed to go and talk to this dude, and he had like a key on him or something, but there was like a main quest line revolving around this dude that I needed to speak to. And I was like, I wonder what happens if I just kill him. And I just kill him. I end up stealing his key, stealing a bunch of money. I'm just caked the fuck up, loaded with money now. And it completely altered my entire experience from that point on, because I could go and buy anything that I wanted. I had access to this key now that I wasn't supposed to have. And it's just like all of these systems that are working simultaneously. It is a impressive feat of game design for all of that to work in tandem, because one domino effect, if something breaks, everything can ripple effect and break based on that. But let's see here. One Random Victory says, on a technical level, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 put most UE5 games to shame. Yeah, it's one of the most impressive technical achievements of the year, bar none, without a shadow of a doubt. And Garrett Chris says Split Fiction is a lot more unique than Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, in my opinion. No one does couch co-op with that level of polished success and gameplay variety, whereas Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, to me, is just a good version of a popular genre. I would say this, is that I agree in the sense of Split Fiction is certainly a more polished game. It certainly has more variety. It's certainly more fun per minute than anything else that was nominated. I would say like Split Fiction is certainly one of my favorite games of the year. I think that where I would disagree a little bit is whereas Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, you said Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, to me is just a good version of a popular genre. How many games we don't see big budget BGS like games often at all because they're so damn complicated. They're so difficult to make. And when you see Avowed and The Outer Worlds 2, and there's so many restrictions put in place for those games, and which that's the thing is, I remember I saw Daniel Vara, he tweeted something to the effect of like kind of shitting on Avowed and The Outer Worlds 2 for being more limited. And it's like, well, hold up, buddy. Let's be clear now. I am much more impressed by Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 on a technical scale than I am Avowed or The Outer Worlds 2. But those games skull fuck Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 in combat. So it's like developers are going to have to prioritize and make the game that they think that they can best create. I think on a scale, world building, immersion factor, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 shits on almost any RPG in the last few years. But on a combat front, like that's not your expertise, Warhorse. And so you struggled with that. And other RPGs do much better in that space. And so it's like, you got to make the game that you think you can best make. But I don't think there's other developers who are making games like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 of that scale, because it's damn near impossible to make. And that's the thing where Warhorse, where they're based out of, the salaries are so much lower compared to like Western studios in the US and Canada, London, wherever the case may be. Like you can't really make those games on a reasonable budget. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was made on like a $40 million budget, which is just astonishing for a game of that scale. So I think it does deserve to be there. For me personally, like if you're asking me on a personal, just purely personal, I would say Death Stranding 2, I think should have been the game that got cut for Split Fiction to get in. Just purely personal, but I also understand that you put down Split Fiction and you have no real emotional attachment to what you just played. I like that story more than most people, but I do understand the general consensus for Split Fiction is you put it down and then you're like, yeah, fantastic god tier gameplay, but nothing really hits you with the story. But at the end of the day, it's an interactive medium. And when you see something like Silk Song up here, something like Donkey Kong Bonanza up here, which, not masterclasses in terms of storytelling, it's like, damn, yeah, I think Split Fiction should be on there, and maybe Death Stranding 2 should not be. But that's why these things are like, you're never going to be able to reach a objective 6 games, especially in a year with 2025 where it's so stacked. We have Arc Raiders, a lot of people think should have been in there. Battlefield 6, a lot of people think should have been in there. Yotei, a lot of people think should have been in there. Split Fiction, a lot of people think should have been in there. So it's like, it's impossible to find an objective 6 games, especially in a year like 2025. So another one that I was a little bit shocked by before we hop out of here was it Best Game Direction? Where was that one at? It's after all the esports stuff. I think it should be right here, right? Yeah, here we go. Expedition 33, I predicted that one. Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotei. I don't think I predicted Ghost of Yotei, Hades 2. Okay. See, I think I got a lot wrong on best game direction. Let's see. I think I got more wrong this year than any year previously. This was an impossible year to predict. Yeah, I had Death Stranding 2, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Expedition 33, Split Fiction, Silk Song, and Dispatch. So yeah, I missed out on Yotei and Hades 2. And then, yeah, a lot of wrong predictions there. But it's, I can kind of see Hades 2 is a tough one. I mean, yeah, it's a very well-directed experience. I guess that would deserve to be up there. Yotei, I think it does open world games really, really well, just in terms of like how naturally you can play that game. You can go through Yotei and you're just in the open world, and like you can kind of take it in however you want and just randomly stumble upon big new quests. And just, I think the direction in terms of having the open world feel so, like, all the quests in that game feel fairly unique and fairly, like, the first game really struggled with a lot of the side content feeling a bit samey. Yotei, there is this sort of like high quality, a lot of the side content feels much more high quality and meaningful than other open world games. And just there is that sort of, you can get lost in that world, and art direction and game direction kind of can cross over here, but it is one of those worlds you just want to get lost in because of how fucking gorgeous it is. So yeah, man, let's see what y'all are saying in the chat though, and we'll hop out of here shortly. Fucking crazy, man. Over 300 views for this thing already. I greatly appreciate it. If y'all would consider liking the video before we hop on out of here to maybe kick this around to some new eyeballs and get this stream out there to anybody else who is looking for it after the fact. That's one of the bummers about the streams, is typically they don't really get recommended. I should have recorded this as well as streamed it, and then to release the recording as like a standalone video on top of it. Because it doesn't seem like the streams end and then they completely flatline in terms of new viewership. So if y'all would consider liking this before we hop out of here, and maybe some new eyeballs will tune into it. Let's see here. Lawrence Pick says, so the only exclusive was Donkey Kong Bonanza, but I guess that stands to reason as Xbox have abandoned the concept and PlayStation have face-planted on live service guff. Yeah. Well, Death Stranding 2 is exclusive, but you know, it's been an okay year for PlayStation with their exclusive outing with Yotei and Death Stranding 2, two very big, prominent exclusive games in 2025. But yeah, there's definitely the thing that I wonder the most about is the games that they could have been funding if it were not for the live service funding. You know what I mean? Because like they funded Detroit Become Human. They funded a shit ton of third-party games and got third-party exclusive deals in the PlayStation 4 era. And, you know, Until Dawn and Bloodborne, and the list goes on and on of all the games they funded when they were really prioritizing the single-player experience. And we got great games from them funding great games from great studios. But you wonder now how much of that funding has just been allocated to the live service slop and what we're missing out on. Because, like, PlayStation got a lot of wins this year just by sheer happenstance. Absalom, I think is on the Switch if I'm not mistaken, but it was just a smaller team. They didn't have the resources to port to Xbox because of the, smaller user base, so they don't port to Xbox. Dispatch, smaller team, debut game, they don't port to Xbox because they don't have the resources available. And so PlayStation just is getting third-party exclusive games by sheer, honestly, just by sheer incompetence on Xbox's side of things. Like, PlayStation hasn't done anything to court these developers, or it's absolutely insane, man. It's absolutely insane that they're just getting third-party exclusive games. Just, here you go. Well, we don't have the resources to port to Xbox. Can you imagine a studio coming along in 2011, 2010 and being like, we don't have the resources to port to Xbox? Xbox was video games in 2010. Xbox dominated the industry for from 05 to really like 2012, just crazy. But times be changing, unfortunately. And that's something I wanted to make a video about that as well. I have 8,000 different, I have a folder just called topics, and I just write down the idea, and then I'll put like 2 bullet point notes and then just end up forgetting it forever. But that's another one where it's like, I don't know what the title once again, but just the idea of like, y'all don't want Xbox to go away. Y'all don't want Xbox to die. Xbox dying means that, like, if the console goes away, if the console dies, there are going to be dozens of studios shut down because those studios won't make sense in an ecosystem of just third-party publishing for profit in a linear model. It's a lot of those studios don't make money. Like they don't put out smash hit commercial successes. But when you're saying, hey, we're going to use Hellblade 2 to help sell consoles, or we're going to use, Avowed to help sell consoles, well, then those games don't necessarily have to make money in a linear publishing front. They help make money on the back end by getting more people into your ecosystem, and then those people end up buying a whole bunch of damn shark cards on GTA Online. But let's round up the chat real quick, and then I'll hop out of your hair. Silk Song story probably hits hard if you have a rocky relationship with your mother, says Flaming Lettuce. One Random Victory says, I think Death Stranding might be here because it's the best technical showcase of the year. Yeah. And he says that, and Kojima fans are dedicated. Death Stranding 2 is certainly, from a visual and technical front, it is in a league of its own. I mean, genuinely, it might be the most beautiful video game that has ever been created. And there's shit I see about that game. Like, I played the first, 10 hours of Death Stranding 2, and I just don't like it from a gameplay standpoint at all. But even from the 10 hours I played, there were moments of just jaw-dropping, awe-inspiring, like, visuals that I could not have, in my wildest dream, imagined even 10 years ago. On a, like, the draw distance in that game, Yote as well, the draw distance in both of those games is, that's the opening of Death Stranding 2, right? You're on the mountain, and just the sheer draw distance of, like, shit you can see in front of you, ranging for miles and miles. That's the most impressive opening from a visual standpoint that I can remember in recent years. Carrie Hard says, this year, Goaty could still compete with each other, but Flickin' Joystick says, Ghost of Yote getting the nom for best game direction is crazy. Its game direction was exactly like the first game. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't special like the first game. I disagree with that. I don't think that the game direction was really... it's an open world third-person action adventure game, so certainly from that standpoint, I guess, but... And maybe most sequels don't need to be nominated. I could get on board with that. Yeah. I could actually kind of get on board with that idea of most sequels probably shouldn't be nominated for best game direction, because the direction is based on heavily on the predecessor. And like, so what are you directing that is entirely new? I think that where I'll come down on the Yote discussion there is that I think it's just a better open world than the first. Like, it's a more compelling open world. Like, everything in Yote, the side content is much more interesting than Tsushima. The Tsushima side stuff gets bland really quickly. I love Tsushima. The main story is excellent. I love that main path. And so that's where, you know, I could agree with that. In best game direction, like the core makeup of what is so great about Yote was initially created in Tsushima. So, and I could say the same thing for like Hades 2, unless you're doing something groundbreaking with your sequel, like the jump from Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2 was insane on a technical front, a storytelling front, like an entirely different style of story. Essentially, you're taking a big budget RPG and making it as competent as like a Gears of War cover shooter in most respects in terms of just the third person shooting. And so The Witcher 3, like the jump from The Witcher 2 to The Witcher 3, the jump from like a Fallout 2 to Fallout 3, where that's almost an entirely different game. Yeah. So there are instances where certainly I think sequels should be nominated, but I could kind of see the point where it's similar. It's similar. Hades 2, Hades 1, Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Yote. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, Andy Serkis definitely, dude, incredible performance in Expedition 33. I could see that as a robbery. People saying, yeah, I'd put Andy Serkis over Ben Starr. I could see that. One Random Victory says a lot of indies don't see a point importing to Xbox unless they're going on Game Pass. Yeah, right. And that's the thing where Dispatch, I'm sure, will get a Game Pass bag at some point. And maybe that's a marketing tactic or kind of a business tactic in general of indies being like, yeah, you know, we would like to be on Xbox. And they kind of play coy and they're like, yeah, we'd like to, but it just doesn't really make sense with our current business model. We're a smaller team. And they're like, well, we can't miss out on Dispatch. Here you go. And I wonder if that's going to be the same thing with Silent Hill 2 Remake. Do they get a Game Pass bag as well? Let's see. I guarantee Expedition 33 destroys Death Stranding 2 in game direction. Can't wait for December, says Muhammad. Yeah, it'll probably win. Expedition 33 might sweep the vast majority of these categories. Let's see. Kale Mutt says, Death Stranding 2 was the first Kojima game I played. I loved the first 15 hours, but I don't think the combat works well on controller, so I'll wait until it releases PC to play the full release. Yeah, I think there's just something about Death Stranding that doesn't click with me. I don't really even know, and we can run some trailers while we shoot the shit a little bit here. I don't even know what it is about Death Stranding 2 that doesn't click with me. And just the Death Stranding games in general, they do not click with me. I don't know. A part of me is like, do I just not like fucking art? Because it's like the most art house. It's like, could you possibly get a bigger budget for an A24 film? You know? But then again, I do love a good meditative, chill, relaxing experience. And then incorporating that with a super heavy story. And the combat felt pretty damn solid for what I played in Death Stranding 2, but it just didn't gel with me. Like I can recognize that it plays well. Like it's a fine game, but on a personal front, I just didn't really like to play it. And I don't know, is it the package delivering? Like I don't know what is the most off-putting thing about Death Stranding 2 to me, or Death Stranding in general to me, but yeah, it just didn't quite vibe with me. Yeah, that's the thing, Lawrence, as well. It's spot on, dude. Lawrence Pick says, I had no idea that Witcher 4 is next year, but I guess it must be if it's anticipated, if it's in the anticipated nomination category. And that's exactly where I'm at. I had no idea that you could be in the running for most anticipated game if you were not like verified and confirmed to be releasing in the following year. I thought you had to at least announce that you were releasing in the following year to be considered. And I guess that is not the case. So let's actually pull that up. Let's go to Game Awards 2024 nominees. There should be like a Wikipedia, yeah. Y'all can see this on your end. Let's actually switch over to this. And let's go dark on this screen. Okay. Awards. Most anticipated. Where you be, most anticipated. Should be towards the end, huh? Okay. So GTA 6 was last year for most anticipated, and at that time, it was scheduled to come out in 2025. Death Stranding 2, 2025, was already scheduled. Metroid Prime 4, 2025, already scheduled. Ghost of Yotei, 2025, already scheduled. Monster Hunter Wilds, 2025, already scheduled. Yeah, so it's like, do they know something about The Witcher 4 that we don't? Like, is it going to get a trailer at, is it going to get a trailer at the Game Awards that confirms a 2026 date? Let's go to 2023 to see if there's anything in 2023 that didn't have an official locked-in date. Rebirth was already known for 2024. Hades 2. Hades 2, I don't think was locked in for 2024. I think it was locked in for early access 2024. So yeah, I mean, I guess that does qualify. Interesting, man. I mean, is that telling, or are we just coping? Because I could see if the press already knows about something, like, is there some campaign right now where there's like a Witcher 4 preview event going on, people flying out to Poland, playing The Witcher 4, and are going to give like a hands-on preview around early December or mid-December after the Game Awards? Because that does happen from time to time, and the press will be aware of a trailer that's set to drop, and they just kind of have to be quiet on it. But I guess, are they still allowed to vote for? Yeah, interesting. Or maybe it could just be us sitting here and speculating about nothing. It could be a scenario where that they're just saying it's the most anticipated because, hey, it was announced last year, so why can't we include it this year in most anticipated? But yeah, I like that award being specifically sent out to games that are coming out the following year. Let's see. Kelmut says Witcher 4 is definitely not next year. No way. I kind of tend to agree. We didn't see anything at all from that game. Barely any like real in-engine footage. Captain Corndog says, I'm not sure why, but Death Stranding just clicks for me. The first one is a game that has stuck with me more than a lot of older games. Yeah, man. I think it's more of a me issue than it is a Death Stranding issue. I see what people like in Death Stranding, but yeah, it's not quite my speed. Poet says Dispatch snubbed hard. No noms for best performance, best art direction, or narrative. What? Yeah, I think what happened with Dispatch is I think what happened is, like, the game comes out in November, but the final episode doesn't drop until the end of November, and then the nomination cutoff period is mid-November. So did people feel reluctant to vote for Dispatch for like best narrative when they haven't seen the full thing in its complete form? So they're like, I don't want to vote something for best narrative when it's not even out entirely at the time of voting. And reviewers, I don't think got early like complete access to dispatch. I think they had to play it at the same time as we did. So that could have been the scenario there for dispatch. But yeah, definitely a serious snub. And it's one of the worst types of snubs because technically it does qualify for being nominated because you saw it nominated for, what was it, Best Debut Indie Game, right? So technically you could vote for it, so that means it's not going to get any votes next year. Bummer of a scenario, but they're selling millions upon millions of copies. Expedition 33 sweep incoming. Yeah, it's sweeping just about everything. Eddie Rayhan says, yeah, only option is Expedition 33. Okay. So that is pretty much that, man. It's going to be an interesting year. I mean, like y'all are all saying, it's definitely seeming like we're in store for a pretty clean sweep for Expedition 33. It's I believe, yeah, Captain Corndog says, I think Expedition 33 is the most nominated game ever for the Game Awards with 12 nominations. Like, that game left a impact this year, and that impact will be felt for decades to come. You don't get moments like Expedition 33 often at all in this industry. I think the last time, and it's the thing, right, where most influential games, that's a topic that's often discussed, and you see stuff like Grand Theft Auto 3 or Halo, Half-Life, whatever, there's a bunch of Shenmue, a ton of different examples, but Baldur's Gate 3 is not going to be as influential as Expedition 33. And the reason is because you can recreate Expedition 33. It's fucking expensive to recreate Baldur's Gate 3. That's a risky bet for a publisher to greenlight, a $200 million CRPG. Whereas you can create an Expedition 33 on a fairly lean budget, even at a AAA level. And of course, that would mean you have to put down a lot of your aspirations for in crazy visual fidelity, and like Expedition 33, you can see the budget on that game in a lot of ways, but they disguise it so fucking well. It looks like a big AAA blockbuster a lot of the time. And then the seams start to show every now and then, but nobody gives a fuck. Why would you? By and large, that game looks as good as anything you're going to get in the AAA space. And the art direction is paramount, right? Like, the art direction does a lot to carry that game where it might fall short visually. But yeah, it's going to be incredibly influential. And it's just such a wild thing to think that the founder of Adhog, the creator of Dispatch, and the founder of Sandfall, the creator of Expedition 33, are both ex-Ubisoft employees. And so it's like, how many people do they have rotting away inside those offices who have visions in mind for the future of adventure games? Dispatch comes out and reshapes the future of adventure games, revitalizes that genre. Expedition 33 comes out, and it's like one of the best-selling turn-based RPGs that's not named Pokemon in the last decade. It's that and Persona in terms of like mainstream viable success in this market. Like, and both of them come out of Ubisoft. The visionaries for these studios, the founders for these studios. That's just, God, dog, man. I like a lot of Ubisoft games. Star Wars Outlaws is so slept on. One of the better Star Wars games ever. But I just don't see how you can... I mean, it's just... I guess it's the body count, right? You have 10,000 plus employees. So certainly there's going to be people under that umbrella who are capable of greatness, but they're being shackled by... Yeah. Kelmut says, to be fair, Ubisoft had like 20,000 employees. Perfect place to learn the craft. Right. Poet says, I'm Team Claire all day, but no Split Fiction for Goaty has me pissed. Yeah, listen, y'all know I love Split Fiction so much. It might be my game of the year, Split Fiction. It really might be. I adore that video game. But at the same time, I get it. It's a tough year. It's a really tough year this year. I didn't initially predict Yotze to get nominated for Game of the Year, but after seeing how many noms they gave it, I'm kind of shocked. Kind of shocked it missed, not gonna lie. Oh, right. Okay, yeah. Missed out on Game of the Year. Yeah. Well, guys, that has been a fun ass stream. I would love to do this more. Every time I do it, I'm like, after finishing a stream, it's like, this is so fucking fun. I love like real time chatting with you guys. It's a absolute blast. And yeah, it's been a crazy road. I've been doing this since 2019. When I started Easygoing Gaming back in the day, and we're now heading into 2026. It's fucking been a lot of years, man, a whole lot of years. But I think without a doubt, the most satisfying, the part I enjoy the most for sure is like, I love talking about games. I love playing games, all that, but it's dope as shit to, build up this little community that we've built here. And I think that's one of the things about streaming, like the live back and forth, that I love so much. So I think that's going to be something I look into a little bit more in 2026, of just figuring out. It's tough to do live streams with work, but figuring out some way to do some more live streams, even if it's just like a quick hour pop in, 2 hours pop in, have a little chat, maybe have like topics that we discuss live. It's for what, because I know that for just like sitting down to play a game on live stream, like I'm aware that that's not, people aren't going to tune into that. Unless it's like Grand Theft Auto 6, or unless it's something competitive. Maybe that would be fun. Like get me and Loon to hop in on something competitive, or something that people are really into. It just doesn't seem like there's really much traction at all in the space of just like sitting down to play a game, at least not for newer creators. Like if you've established yourself in that space and doing it, obviously you can have lasting success doing that. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe even something in terms of gameplay streams, maybe doing something like a wheel of games where we spin the wheel and maybe do like Steam demos, like 30 minutes per game. Like I need to sit down and come up with some ideas for streaming of like, what could you do that would be different? What, not just, the same thing that everyone else is doing, because that's kind of where you got to figure out how to stand out. Is like, what could you do that not everyone else and their mom is doing? So, let's see. Dante says, always cool talking to you, buddy. And then Kale Mutt says, Easygoing Gaming, did you delete that channel by chance? Yeah, that's one of my biggest fucking mistakes, man. That's definitely one of my biggest regrets with content creation, is whenever like the channel was struggling mightily for a long time, and like, hard to ever crack like even 100 views and shit at times. And I was just like, this thing is not going to take off. And instead of just like leaving it there, I deleted the entire channel and started up something new. It's like, you should have left it there. That way you have the vault of content to look back on, because there's a lot of videos from those times that I would like to look back on, even just to see how bad it was and laugh at it. And like, damn, you've come a long way in your coverage of video games. And you build up a community over there. And that's the thing. Like, listen, of course, I hope to God, I pray that someday this channel finds real success and it can take off and we can have something serious here where I'm able to dedicate the time to it. But I'm aware that there's a very high likelihood that it doesn't do that, right? And that it doesn't take off. And in that scenario, like, I think it's all lessons learned, right? Where like if I ever do have to leave this channel behind, 0% chance that it's getting deleted. Like all of this shit will stay up for y'all to be able to watch. And even if I, have to stop creating content on this channel at some point, like I'm definitely that is the biggest regret I have with the Easygoing Gaming Days of just like, because there's old content that I watch from some of my favorite creators where I just go back, like every year I go back and I'll watch Min-Max Game of the Year discussions, Giant Bomb Game of the Year discussions. And the fact that I have my Game of the Year for 2019, 2020, 2021 that are all deleted now. And it's like, that's fucking, yeah. So I'll never do that again with this channel. That's a massive regret. And yeah, I apologize for, Kale. That was definitely a dumb decision, man. Let's see here. Captain Corndog says, hell yeah, I love hopping in for a live stream. Yeah, definitely. I'm going to try to make sure that I do more of those in 2026. That's going to be one that I'm going to need to really, really sit down though and figure out a few different ideas, a few different ways of going about live streaming in 2026. And it's a bummer because I put up those polls on the channel where I'm like, well, what do y'all want to see from the channel? And I always throw live streaming into the mix for like, hey, you want to see this in 2025? You want to see this in 2024? And I try to do that every year to see what people want more of. And live streaming is something that it seems like nobody wants. But I don't think I'm necessarily positioning the plan correctly because I don't have the plan in my head yet. Where like the plan isn't just to do another typical stream of sitting down to play video game. Like I want to do even stuff like this, chatting, podcasts, actually like making content, but in a live stream where I can have back and forth interaction with the chat. And, but yeah, I just need to really game plan for that. So I don't want to, let's say mid 2026, something like that. Let's shoot for, give me some time to game plan, because I do, I got a lot of content plans for videos at the end of 2025 and leading into like the first couple months of 2026. But I definitely want to game plan for more live streams. And of course, like we're going to do the Game Awards live reaction. I want to make sure that for sure is like a main priority where I hop in here, get Loon to hop in here whenever he can, and do just like hit the shows, hit the big shows, and have live reactions for those available for you all. Yeah. And maybe also I need to remember to record those reactions and maybe upload the recording. Anywho, this is all behind the scenes horseshit. Who cares? Let's see. Dante says, why don't you create a Discord? So the honest answer is that I am like, so I work a full-time job and I do this for probably about equal like 30, 40 hours a week doing YouTube when it comes to like, when everything is considered like, well, probably a lot more, probably more like 60 plus hours whenever you consider the playing games, at least 50 plus hours in that range when you consider like playing games, recording content, taking notes. So it's just, and then, I try my best to reply to every comment. Of course, I'm going to miss a few every now and then, but I try my best to reply to every comment on YouTube. So in terms of like my social media energy, if I'm just being completely transparent, I'm typically like completely depleted, completely spent week in, week out, and just energy in general. And so like maintaining and interacting through Discord and also like how do I say this? 99.9% of viewer interaction is going to be completely normal, completely free from any sort of parasocial grip or expectation or but I've had enough interactions where like people have emailed me and I'll respond to the email, and then the emails start becoming like more and more frequent to the point where I'm like, okay, this is, I don't really know what's going on here. Or like people start getting a little bit angry or agitated. And I'm like, okay, I definitely don't want that at all. Like I really like all of the commenting and interaction to be on a public forum where everybody can see it. And it's like, okay, but I try my best to prioritize that as much as humanly possible, of when y'all drop comments, of just making sure to hit people back. Because like, if anybody's going to take the time out of their day to say anything positive, negative, just anything, to like, I want to at least respond in a short comment, to be able to shoot the shit with the community, because like, that's everything. We're not in the day and age of GameSpot setting up at E3 and filming the press conference and then rushing back to the hotel room to where they had Wi-Fi to publish the 2007 Sony E3 press conference and getting 40 million views on it, and that being like 50% of their revenue that comes in for the year. Like everything is much more community driven and community dependent. And like, you can't, and like, I think that's how it should be. You know what I mean? I think it should be more based around like, oh yeah, this person makes good content. It's not an access thing. It's like, oh yeah, I like tuning into what they make and they seem like a decent person. So you feel like you want to support that person. And so I try my best to always go out of my way to respond to every comment, but I don't know. I doubt I'll ever do Discord. At least if I do full time, like if I go full time at some point with this, then maybe I could run a Discord, but I do like a degree of how the fuck can you say anonymity whenever I don't think anonymity is a real thing at all at this point in 2025. I don't think anybody has any anonymity left, but I do like some degree of just like, at times, completely disconnecting and being like, all right, I'm cool with, I've responded to the comments. I got the video out there, and now I just want to go live my private life and not have the connection to the social media. Like, I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on Facebook. Well, I guess I should say I am on Twitter. I scroll through Twitter, but I don't post on Twitter. I don't post on Facebook. I don't post on Instagram. I don't really like, if I weren't doing this, I wouldn't be on social media at all. I would have YouTube. I'd watch YouTube, but like Twitter is perfect for a curation of video game news stories. And so I get all of my damn video game news through Twitter, and that has definitely become a problem. But it's like, if it wasn't for this channel, I would not be on Twitter. I would not be on Facebook. I would not be on Instagram. Obviously not on TikTok, not on Snapchat. Like I don't like social media at all. So yeah, I guess that's a long-winded way of why I don't have a Discord. Yeah, Captain Corndog says demos would be cool. Yeah, demos, like the Steam Next Fest demos, that'd be awesome to stream. I'd be so down to stream that. Kale Mutt says, I have similar regret. I did vlogs back in 2007, but deleted it. Would love to see them again. Right, yeah, even just as a time capsule. Yeah, Kale says, never delete the videos, just put them on private. Exactly. Where you want to have the time capsule to look back on and have those memories for, even if they're not available to the public, just for yourself. So yeah, for sure. Lawrence Pick says that's a better idea than simply playing the game live, because it involves your audience front and center. Exactly. Yeah. And maybe something to that effect as well, where like, I don't really know. Like, can you do polls on here? Do, 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 do. I don't really know. But anywho, yeah, you know, like doing some sort of poll where there's a goal feature, but there's not a poll. See, once again, this is something that I'm such a novice. Like, I do not know anything about live streaming. But something I would really like to do through live streaming is maybe if I do gameplay streams, I have like 4 different options available for y'all to vote on, and just whatever wins is the game I'll stream, or just something to where it's a bit more interactive. Like and this is just purely from a personal standpoint, I have never, will never care about tuning into a stream just to watch someone play a game. Like, I could not care less. I want to play that game myself. And so, yeah, trying to find ways to like avoid getting trapped into something that's just a bit, because once you start a thing like that where it's like, okay, we're gonna play through the Outer Worlds 2, and you start it up and it's like part 1, we're gonna play through the full game, and then you have whatever 300 views, and then the next video it's 200 views, and the next one's like 120. It's like, oh shit. But you've committed to it. So it's trying to find ways to be nimble. And that's like one of my big pieces of advice I would give to anybody starting out, don't take my fucking advice in terms of creating content. But one of my big pieces of advice I would give to people starting out is don't overcommit to series. Like, don't overcommit to different series of videos. Be nimble. You find what works, double down on that, pivot away from the things that don't. And just kind of give the audience what they're interested in. But anywho, I'm just rambling at this point. I appreciate y'all so much for tuning in, guys. It's been a fun reaction stream here. How long have we went? We've gone 2 hours and 30 minutes for that 5 minute long presentation. But yeah, that was fun. Just to have the reactions available, and I'll make sure to timestamp this, and I might even post like put a post up so that people can tune in. But anywho, I appreciate you guys so much for watching, for stopping by, and if you have any final questions you want to get out there before I jump out of your hair, go ahead and drop them in the chat. But yeah, so upcoming, we have I'll definitely have these predictions available for what I think is going to win from the nominee list and all that. But Game Awards announcement predictions, all of that shit will be ready to go in the next couple weeks or so. And then we get into my game of the year. And why does it look like I got a damn boil on my shoulder? My shirt popping up there. Yeah, I don't even know what the fuck I was saying. Game of the year, hidden gems, all that stuff coming up very soon. But till next time, guys, appreciate y'all so much for tuning in. Take it easy, Captain Corndog, Dante, Lawrence, Kale, everybody who stopped by. Greatly appreciate y'all for checking in with the live stream today. But I shall see you, good people, in the next stream. Take it easy, guys. Goodbye. Let's see. Reconnect, your stream will stop.